Hey y'all, and welcome back to Finance Facts. Our vocabulary word of the day is bank. By definition, a bank is a financial institution that can receive deposits and give out loans. But most banks do a lot more than that. A lot of banks offer credit cards and business banking, check cashing services, ATM access, and money management services too. Some of the biggest banks in the United States are Chase Bank, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. All of these banks offer similar and different products and services, and they market them in different ways too. But regardless, the most popular banking product has been and may always be a checking account or a savings account. Checking accounts are really good for making deposits and withdrawals. You can use your checking account to pay bills, make purchases, and you typically get a debit card or ATM card with this type of account too. Savings accounts are better for holding money for emergencies. They can also connect to your checking account so you can make transfers, but you do have a limited number of withdrawals that you can make in a month on a savings account. Now that we've talked a little bit about what a bank is, we're going to talk about some of the advantages of banking or having a checking account or a savings account like we described earlier. One big advantage is that having your money in a bank can keep your money safe, literally. Having your money in a bank allows for FDIC insurance to cover your deposit. In the event that the bank is robbed or the bank closes down, your funds are federally insured by the United States government, meaning that you'll get them back. This is actually a lot safer than the under the mattress method that a lot of people use from back in the day. In the event of a fire or a robbery, there's no way to recover those funds. They're a lot safer in the bank than they would be in your home. Another advantage of banking is it can help you save. Having a bunch of cash and coins floating around in your pocket or in your purse, that can be really hard to track. And it can be hard at the end of the day to remember what you've spent and what you spent it on. As opposed to banking, most banks are going to offer some type of mobile banking service, or even if they don't, you'll still get a statement at the end of the month. This way, all of your transactions are tracked and you can see where every penny of your money went. This makes it a lot easier to save money and to put money where it needs to go. Another great advantage of banking is that it allows for a paper trail for purchases and for sending money. Shown here is an example of that bank statement that we just talked about. A bank statement is going to show every transaction on an account, whether it's a withdrawal or a deposit. And banks keep these statements on file for years. So if you ever have a question about a deposit that was made or a transaction from years ago, chances are your bank will still have record of it. Another great product a lot of banks are starting to offer is Zelle. Zelle allows you to send and receive money from people instantly. If you have a bank account and they do too, and you both are signed up for Zelle, you can send them money sometimes in seconds. Isn't that cool? And it's a lot safer than exchanging cash, where there's no paper trail or there's no history of the money being exchanged. Again, banking makes keeping track of your finances a lot easier. Well, those are some great advantages of banking, but with the good comes the bad. So now we're going to talk about some of the disadvantages of banking, and there are a few. One of the biggest ones is low interest rates. The average savings account interest rate as of 2022 was around 0.1%, and that's really, really low, especially when you consider how high inflation is. If you were to put $100 into a bank account in 2022 at that interest rate, by 2042, you would have only earned $2.63 in interest. That's pretty bad. Another big disadvantage of banking is fees. Banks charge fees for all sorts of reasons. Account fees, ATM fees if you don't use an ATM that's in your bank's network, credit card fees if you sign up for a credit card, and overdraft fees can be the worst. Those overdraft fees can be really hard, especially if you're already having a rainy day and don't have a lot of funds. It can really stink to be hit with a $35 fee on top of the money you already don't have. Another stressful disadvantage of banking can be debit card fraud and wait time. You might have heard that sometimes scammers can get debit card information and they'll use the stolen information to make purchases. Sometimes they can drain your account and leave you with no money at all. And while you can file disputes with your bank to get the money back since you're not the one that spent it, those reimbursements can take time. And sometimes you might have to wait 10 days or even longer to get back the funds that were originally yours. Yikes. Even with the disadvantages, the advantages of banking make it well worth it. Some good tips to keep in mind are: 1, check your transactions regularly. If you see any suspicious activity or any transactions made that weren't initiated by you, you'll want to make sure to let your bank know as soon as possible. Tip number 2 would be to shop around. There are over 4,900 banks in the U.S. At least one of them has services and products that would benefit your life and make your financial life a lot easier. You just have to find the right fit. Lastly, use benefits like rewards that banks offer and be on the lookout for new account bonuses. A lot of banks will offer reward programs for spending on your debit card or credit card, and they might even give you a new account bonus when you open up a new account with them. Keep all this information in mind when you're picking the perfect bank for you. Well, that's all the time we have, guys. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on TikTok before you go. Later, y'all.